and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Savvy Shades and today I'm going to be recreating a Mad Hatter look. And if you would like to see how I did it, then just keep on watching. Okay. I'm going to be starting off today's look by gluing down my brows. So I'm going to be taking some Elmer's glue and pushing that through my eyebrow. And then with something really flat, I am going to push all of my brow down to be as flat as possible. I used to spoolie it, but I find that when I spoolie it, it doesn't keep the brow all together and there ends up being little streakies that get off because this pulls the glue too much. So I don't like doing that. I just like taking a flat surface, pushing my brow down as best as possible. And you also don't want to touch it. I know I just did, but you don't want to touch it when the glue is already on because the oils break down the glue. I'm gonna do the other side as well. Now, depending if your eyebrows ended up staying glued down or not, you can go back in with another layer. When you can look to the side in a mirror and not see any hairs stick up, then you're probably good to keep on going. I'm gonna now wait about 5 minutes for this glue to dry. Because it's glue, I want it to dry down completely, and I want it to be absolutely no purple left over, and my eyebrow should still stay stuck to my head. If not, then I'm gonna reapply the glue. It's really important that you just don't go in with translucent powder right now when the glue is still wet, because if you go in with the translucent powder, you're gonna get these little white clumps because the translucent powder will stick to the glue. So wait about 5 minutes for this to all dry down. You should be able to swat it and not feel like it's still drying. So that's when you know you're good. Once your brows are all dry, then you're gonna take some translucent powder. I like using the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and you're just going to flick that up, setting the glue if there's anything that's dry. Be careful not to pull back up the hairs. You wanna be lightly placing the translucent powder, just dusting it on there. Once your eyebrows are glued down to your face and ready to go, then I'm going to be taking some of this orange from the CC Beauty face paint palette that I got off of Amazon. I'm going to be taking a little bit and just running it through my brows. This is to color correct it a little bit so the brown isn't so prominent. And I'm just painting this everywhere where my hair is brown. This part doesn't need to be super clean. Like, this part doesn't really matter. That's why I'm just kind of slapping her on. Now I'm going to take more of that translucent powder and that same brush that I was using before. I am just going to stamp this onto my eye. Now I'm taking some of the translucent powder and the brush I was using before, and I am just going to dust the translucent powder over my eye again, basically creating layers so my brow will not move. No, this looks so creepy. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let that bake on my face for a little bit while I continue with the rest of my look. I can't, honestly, this is funny. Okay, so now that I look like the octopus from Pirates of the Caribbean, yo, you know what I'm talking about? I literally look like that. Okay, not the point. Okay, we're moving on. So now that that is done, I'm just gonna let that bake for a couple minutes and take a little coffee break again. So now that that's baked on my face, I'm just gonna go ahead and brush all that excess powder off. I don't want there to be any powder on it when I go to apply my foundation because the powder is just gonna cause the foundation to really stick to it, and we want it to be a seamless blend all throughout. For foundation today, I'm gonna be taking some Morphe concealer in the shade C00 and mixing it with my foundation shade. I'm hoping that this is gonna give me a Mad Hatter white type of skin tone. Let's try it. This is not a good day to run out of white concealer, like. No, it is not a good day to run out of white concealer. Oh. Now that I have some white concealer on the back of my hand, I'm just going to take a dab of foundation here. Try to get a good color match going on here. Okay, this side is more like it, but we are gonna need to blend. Now we're just gonna take some of that white concealer, push it all over the brows. And now that my face is all covered, now I'm gonna go in with some of this concealer. Just try to get this to look as much as my skin tone as possible. Feel free to kind of douse it up on the concealer. That's what's really gonna give you that full coverage on a brow. Like, is that not full coverage? I mean, that's like amazing. I'm just going to lightly pat everything in. You don't want to be rough with this because glue is becoming becoming at a very fragile state with all of these products on top of it. So you just want to lightly move around that product till you see your brow no more. Now I'm going to be setting that again. It's basically just set and repeat a million times. And I'm going to let that bake again because I want there to be absolutely nothing left of my brow. So now I'm just gonna finish setting my ghost looking face with some concealer just so nothing creases. Now we can actually start our brow shape. For that, I'm gonna be using some Mayron makeup and I'm gonna be using this orange shade right here to do the brows. So I'm applying this orange and I'm applying it in such a way to kind of look feathered out. I don't want the brow to look perfect because the Mad Hatter's eyebrows are not perfect, but I did change my shape to be a little bit more elongated, not so much of an arch. And I'm just keeping it really clean underneath and I'm just going to try to give it more of a fuzzy type of effect on top. Now I'm going to take some white concealer and fix up that bottom portion just to be super clean. Now, here comes the fun, colorful part. For my look today, I am going to be using this Stacey Marie Carnival XL palette. Honestly, it has become my ride or die. I don't know how the F I ever did makeup without it because this palette just, it brings something out of me. I can't even explain it. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna get started with contouring my face. The Mad Hatter has pink contour, so I'm gonna stick with that and also do pink contour. And I think I'm gonna go with Funky from the Stacey Marie palette and just start building it up on my forehead. I'm just putting that where I normally put my contour on my forehead, just blending it all out. I'm using a really tiny brush because pink is obviously not a normal skin tone. I don't want to use a big brush because I feel that it's just going to get too messy too fast. We are just going to use this little one and a bigger one to blend everything all out. Wow, I'm kind of actually loving this. Now I'm going to keep up on building this contour by adding the shade Wasted from the same palette. I want this to be a very colorful look. I feel like adding this purple on top of the pink is going to give me kind of a blown out effect, hopefully, and add some more color. Gonna go back in with Funky and just blend this all back into each other. I'm gonna do the same thing to this bottom area. Okay, yes. Okay, so now that the contour is all placed, literally 30 minutes later, I'm gonna go ahead and bake like how I normally do. Right now, I'm just baking everywhere before starting my eyeshadow, and I'm also gonna be taking the eyeshadow down for my nose contour, making these contour lines super deep, beautiful, blended. I don't even know the word I'm looking for because I'm so freaking focused. And after we're gonna let this bake sit on for a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and start my favorite part, which is the eyeshadow. I want to do one side blue and purple, I think, and then the other side like red and purple. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start applying my base. I like using the 𝐇𝐢𝐠𝐡𝐿 eye base. This has changed my makeup game forever. I first got this in April, and I don't know what it is about this little tiny product, but it changed my eyeshadow, and now I won't even do my eyeshadow if I don't have a 𝐇𝐢𝐠𝐿 base. Like, I stan 𝐇𝐢𝐠𝐿. I am just going to coat that all over my eyelid, and I like tapping and dragging the product. It's going to go all the way up to the brow, because I will be placing shadows all the way up there. She's gonna get a little crazy over here. With this 𝐇𝐢𝐠𝐿 base, you actually can just go ahead and go in with your eyeshadow. You don't need to set it down again. It actually sets with the eyeshadow already, so you can just leave that wet, leave it tacky. That way your pigments show up super pigmented. And I think I'm gonna have this side be blue, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with some blue first here. So I'm just taking the shade Mood, a very dark, deep blue, and I am just moving that all along my eye, just basically patting and blending. So now I am just buffing in the color Mood on a Morphe M562, and I'm just going to keep on going. So I think I want to kind of go for like a half cut crease moment, so I'm just going to kind of bring this out a little bit. I'm going to say it a million more times, the best eyeshadow palette in the world. So I'm just gently moving that up, and now I'm going to apply another shade on top. So now I'm just blending this pretty much outwards both ways, down my nose and also up to my contour. I just want everything to be super blended, super fun, super. Okay, so once we get the base for this eye started, I'm now gonna go ahead and do the base for this eye. So before I go ahead and cut my crease, I am going to do my nose contour. Just like that. Just go down the side of my nose. I'm just gonna let that sit while I go ahead and start cutting my crease. So I've just taken some white concealer and some of my regular concealer. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and start stamping my crease. I like don't even breathe in this part. Now once the crease is cut, then I'm just gonna take some of Mood and go back over it and just blendy. Now I'm gonna take some of the Blood Sugar palette because I love the shade Cullinan from it. So I am going to get that on a brush. I'm gonna douse it, okay? I'm also going to put some of this Morphe Continuous Setting Spray on it. Yes. And I'm just going to stamp this on my eye. So whenever you feel like you can't get a glitter shadow to really apply nice, like how it applies with your finger, a really good trick is applying it with some continuous setting spray. I like using the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, and it is a game changer. I mean, super pigment, you know? On another little flat tail brush, I'm going to go ahead and dip into the shade Entitled from the Blood Sugar palette. And I am just going to place this right where Wood and Cullinan meet. Now I am going to share a secret that I use for all of my cut creases that makes my cut creases go up from like 50 to 100, and that is taking a really tiny brush. So I'm going to take this one right here, like I'm talking tiny, like this tiny, okay? And I am going to dip into the shade that you put on your crease the most. So for me, that was the shade Mood. And I am just going to follow my crease very carefully. And this is gonna darken up that area a little bit more. Whew. So as you guys can see, I made it to where there's more of a contrast, and now I'm just gonna blend that out ever so slightly. Yes, okay. This cut crease is done, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing to this side now. Okay, so now that the base of the face is all done, I'm gonna go ahead and start going in with some glitter. For glitter, I'm gonna be using this. I just picked it up from Micheals. Really nothing too special about her. So I'm gonna put just a little bit in the cap. Some setting spray, so wetting my face might be helpful. Okay, so now that we have glitterified our whole entire face. Okay, so I think next up is going to be the lipstick. I added some gems right here. Right here. So I think I'm gonna do lipstick. For lipstick, I really don't know what color I should do. Like, I'm kind of feeling like... So the Mad Hatter has like reddish lips. So I think I'm gonna do... Okay, honey, I see you. Okay, so now I'm gonna take some of that Pink Me and make like a metallic lip with it. Okay, so now it is time to pop on some lashes. We're almost done. I'm almost done. My lashes. Okay, so now that the lip is done, the eyelashes are on, I can finally finish up this look. So to finish it up, I'm gonna go ahead and change into my Mad Hatter costume. I'll be back to finish it all up. Oh my god! Yo! Excuse me. Who is she? She the Mad Hatter. Alice in Wonderland. Ooh. It was so weird. All I did was I had to puff that up, and I literally feel like I am the Mad Hatter now. I'm the Mad Hatter! Oh my gosh. So to finish up the look, I just went ahead and added the gap between my teeth with the Sharpie. I popped on the wig, and you know, the hat and all of that stuff, and I literally feel like I am the Mad Hatter. I'm so happy with how this turned out. And if you guys attempt this as well, tag me in your guys' posts, because I love to see recreations of stuff. Thank you so much for falling down this rabbit hole with me and seeing how I recreated this Mad Hatter look. I hope to see you guys in my next video, but till then, all my socials will be down in that description box below. Go ahead and follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Till then, see you next time.